Just one toe with a Super Dredge.
Kevin Mead has been researching and developing his super dredge around the scallop beds of Marlborough for the past 20 years. Made of high quality stainless material and to extremely high standards, Kevs Super Dredges have been used and recommended for both scallops and oysters from one end of New Zealand to the other.
One very important thing when you go out scalloping, or any boating for that matter, you should always have a life jacket on. And there's no excuse nowadays for uncomfortable life jackets. You've got slimline life jackets available, you don't even know you've got them on. Very careful you don't get the net tangled up the twines.
Lower your dredge into the water, ensuring the net is out the back and not caught in the dredge tines. Run along at a nice pace, letting the rope run through your hands. You should use a 4:1 ratio of rope. For example, in 50 feet of water, use 200 feet of rope. When you get to the end of the rope, hopefully it's attached to your boat, take your speed up to a fast walking pace, around 2000 RPMs or 4 knots. If you're towing a scallop bed for the first time, only tow for around 2 minutes to avoid possible overload. Go back down the rope, retrieving slack as you go until you're directly over the dredge. Tie the rope to a stern cleat and begin reverse tow of approximately 8 knots in the opposite direction to dredging tow. Once your dredge is surfaced, attach and release your spring clip and float. Once your spring clip is passed over the lift and hold, tow your dredge for a little longer to clean the shellfish. Then back off the power and go back to the dredge, retrieving slack rope as you go. Lift the dredge with the tines facing up onto the side of your boat and empty your scallops.
Now we just roll the net up and tip them into the boat. Just one toe with a Super Dredge.
Check scallop size and number limits in the area you're fishing. Throw any obviously undersized ones back as quickly as possible to give them a better chance of survival. Then, using the measuring tool supplied with your super dredge, sort out the scallops you can or can't keep. Throwing those you can't keep back overboard.
You're allowed, yep. It's close to 100.
Cover your scallops with salt water to allow them to clean themselves out. Another good thing to do is to take home some fresh salt water to rinse your scallops in after you've shelled them. This, unlike fresh water, will stop the scallops from spitting when you cook them and also helps them to retain their flavour. So now you know how to catch them, how do you get them out of their shells? While it's not as simple as catching them with a super dredge, there's still nothing to it. Take the scallops from the salt water they've been soaking in overnight, place them upside down on a bench top and force a knife in between the top and bottom shells, forcing it down until the shell pops open. Cut the gut bag off, and then there's a small piece of hard tissue to run a nick through. Let gravity hold the row up and take the bottom skirt off. Flick the scallop into a container and you're on to the next one. Enjoy! For smaller vessels, Kev recommends a yoke system. Towing a dredge from one corner of a small boat tends to make the boat crab. A yoke system helps maintain an even pull on either side of the boat, even through turns, and makes manoeuvring on the scallop beds a lot safer.
For larger vessels over 6 metres, launches, yachts, etc., if they're using my scallop dredges, I recommend you tie a float onto the boat end of the tow rope and then make up a weak link to tow the scallop dredge with. If you tow into a solid object on the seafloor, the weak link will break and your float will hold your tow rope on the surface. You don't do any damage to your boat, and you get your scallop dredge back.